Jasper always loved playing these kinds of games that made people jealous. It seemed like he could only feel my concern for him this way. The third time I saw his intimate photo with the freshman, I decided not to make a big fuss as I used to, but to have a quiet meal instead. Jasper was unhappy when he saw that I didn't react. A friend of his gave him an idea. Why don't you just spend the night with that girl, and then be late for the wedding? Which woman can stand such a big stimulus? Aletta will definitely go crazy. After hearing this, Jasper smiled with satisfaction, and my heart turned cold. So, on the night before the wedding, he spent the whole night with that girl, while I turned around and joined my mentor's research team, and didn't come back for 7 years. Later, I heard that President Jasper, who was usually cold, completely broke down on his wedding day, and looked for the runaway bride for 7 years. 1. At a friend's gathering, Jasper drew a punishment where he had to kiss girl number 4. But girl number 4 wasn't me, it was his junior Beatrix. A friend noticed my expression and awkwardly tried to dissuade him, saying, "Forget it, Aletta is Jasper's girlfriend, and they're almost married. It's not appropriate for your fiancé to kiss another woman, right?" But some people were just trying to stir up trouble. Hey, we all saw the rules. If you can't play, don't play. It's just a kiss, nothing too over the top. Don't spoil everyone's fun. While everyone was arguing, I kept staring at Jasper. He pursed his lips and his eyes darted around. After a while, he suddenly walked over to me and whispered in my ear, "Baby, you spent an hour looking at other men today. That's so naughty. I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine." With a cold smile, he pushed me away. To everyone's cheers, he wrapped his arms around Beatrix's slender waist, his eyes tender, and they began to kiss passionately. At the most passionate moment, he glanced at me sideways. Seeing tears involuntarily dripping from the corner of my eyes, he suddenly let go of Beatrix, laughed, and pulled me out of the shadows and into the crowd. Everyone saw my tear-stained face. "See, I told you my wife loves me the most. She's a little jealous. She can't bear to see me get a little too close to other girls." After saying that triumphantly, he forced my face over and kissed me on the mouth with the lips he had just used to kiss Beatrix, his tone light. "Baby, you passed my test again. It seems I can safely marry you." Beatrix beside him smiled and suddenly leaned over, wrapping her arm around Jasper's, and gave me a provocative look. "Jasper, I made a big sacrifice to act with you. How are you going to reward me?" She shook Jasper's arm coquettishly, and Jasper, who usually disliked being touched by others, didn't show any impatience. Instead, he pinched her cheek affectionately. "How to reward you? How about giving yourself to me?" Beatrix hit him on the chest and glared at me fiercely. "Oh, don't joke around. Don't you see Aletta is still crying?" Jasper turned his head and saw me looking at them, tears streaming down my face. Seeming a little out of control, he rubbed my hair, his expression a little uneasy. "Aletta, don't be angry. I was just teasing you. I just wanted to see if you would be jealous. Don't cry, baby. I promise I won't do this again, okay?" Seeing Jasper's nervous and worried expression, I wasn't comforted as usual. Instead, I felt a wave of nausea. "Okay." The next moment, I vomited. Through a blur, I saw sympathetic or contemptuous looks from the people around me, and a flash of excitement on Jasper's face. Compared to my tears, he seemed to enjoy my miserable appearance more, and even forgot to pretend to come over and help me. Turning my head, I saw Jasper's phone light up on the table. 2. The screen wallpaper was a photo of him and Beatrix holding our pet cat. I had picked up that little cat. It was frail and sickly and almost didn't make it. I carefully nursed it back to health, giving it the best care I could. But it wasn't affectionate towards me at all. To be exact, it was unwilling to be close to me. Every time I tried to pet it, it would bare its teeth and claws at me, and even scratched me several times while I was feeding it, leaving deep wounds. But it was incredibly patient with Jasper, always letting him pet it, and often exposing its soft belly. Now in the photo, it was lying peacefully in Beatrix's arms, even licking her hand, friendly and well-behaved. The moment the screen went dark, my heart turned cold. I don't care about this ungrateful animal anymore. Ungrateful people. Looking at Jasper's tense but slightly irritated face, I suddenly felt relieved. I don't want it anymore. 3. I first met Jasper at the Jasper family villa. My mom was a maid at the Jasper household, and because I was around the same age as him, I naturally became his study companion and looked after him at school. The Jasper family was very influential. Jasper's parents were only a business marriage and had no feelings for each other. So after Jasper was born, they completed their task and started their own lives. From childhood to adulthood, they saw Jasper very few times. Perhaps because of this, Jasper was cold on the outside and lacked a sense of security. Even though he knew I liked him, he was always very cold. Aletta, do you know how ridiculous and cheap love is? My parents were once deeply in love, but what was the result? They ended up hating each other and being strangers. Even if you like me, can you stay that way forever? It's ridiculous. As a young girl, I was sincere and didn't back down because of his sarcasm. Instead, I wanted to prove to him that my love for him was real. Later, the Jasper family offended someone in business, and their enemies, not daring to target Jasper's parents, set their sights on Jasper. He was tied up in a burning villa and almost burned to death. It was I who desperately rushed into the fire, bit the rope with my teeth, and scraped my mouth to save him. I was burned and hospitalized, and Jasper, who was at my bedside, softened his tone for the first time. Aletta, he clenched his fist, his eyes red and swollen, looking at me. Are you crazy? You would risk your life for me? Do you like me that much? I nodded in pain, seeing the boy I had dreamed of countless times standing in front of me, speaking softly to me. I was so excited I almost cried. That day, we confirmed our relationship. Jasper hugged me tightly, his words filled with possessiveness almost drowning me. Aletta, between us, there's only death, no separation. If you really love me, you have to love me forever. You can't change your mind for a moment. At that time, I curled up in his arms, listening to these possessive words, feeling both sweet and excited. I never expected that a few years later, this would become my nightmare. 4. On the way home, I remained silent, and Jasper became increasingly irritable. Aletta, I've told you many times, there's nothing going on between me and Beatrix. I was just using her to test your reaction, to make you jealous. Can't you even take a little joke? Why are you so petty? Jealousy is supposed to be romantic, but you're being so unreasonable. I silently stared at my phone and didn't respond to him until we got home for dinner. I was so tired. When we first got together, Jasper was very controlling. He would get angry if I talked to other guys for too long. I think it was because of what happened to his parents that he lacked a sense of security. So I actively cut off contact with all my male friends. But he was still unsatisfied, and he would deliberately get close to other girls in front of me, and then observe my reaction. At first, I was devastated and heartbroken, and I couldn't sleep at night. Jasper was very satisfied when he saw how upset I was, and after seeing me in pain, he would hug me like a pet and comfort me. Oh, I was just teasing you. Why are you taking it so seriously? Those women are nothing compared to my baby. They're just small supporting characters in our love story. However, as time passed, I gradually became numb to the pain. Moreover, at first he would use different women to test me, but now he only used Beatrix. Perhaps he didn't realize it himself, but there was something wrong with the way he looked at Beatrix. Just then my phone rang. It was a message from Beatrix. Aletta, Jasper loves it when I wear this outfit. Do you think it looks good? She also attached a photo of herself in a dark and seductive hotel room. Beatrix was wearing a sexy bunny costume, blushing, and deliberately pulling a man's hand towards her chest. The index finger of that hand had a scar, the same scar that Jasper accidentally got when he was cooking for me for the first time. I bit my lip tightly, and while he was complaining nonstop, I threw the phone directly in front of him. Aletta, what are you? Jasper was almost hit by the flying phone and stood up angrily. When he saw the contents of the message, he suppressed his anger and sat back down, looking at me disdainfully. I took the photo. I carefully selected the hotel and the outfit. Aletta, I called you that day, but you wouldn't come. This is the first time you've rejected me, so why can't I teach you a lesson? After saying that, Jasper stood up and threw the phone to me casually, as if he were giving something to a beggar. To be honest, her breasts aren't as soft as yours. But it feels good too. Jasper chuckled and looked down at my eyes, hoping to find a trace of sadness. But all he saw was coldness and emptiness. Why aren't you reacting? Are you pretending? You're doing a good job. He hugged me again and started to grope me. Okay, it's all my fault. I won't do this again. He stroked my hair, like he was petting a docile dog, and pressed his lips against my neck, leaving a wet kiss. But I couldn't forget the disgust I felt when I saw that photo. Suddenly, Jasper's phone rang again. On the other end of the line, Beatrix's anxious voice came. Jasper, Mimi ran away. I think I saw someone take her. Mimi was the cat that didn't like to be close to people. What should I do, Jasper? That person has a knife. What if something happens to Mimi? I can't do this. I'm going to save her. Saving people or saving a cat? It's just an animal. What if something happens to you? Don't move, I'll be right there. After hanging up the phone, Jasper immediately put on the coat on the sofa and prepared to go out without hesitation. He left in such a hurry that he didn't even notice my expression. He didn't expect that once he walked out of this door, I wouldn't give him another chance. It would be too cheap for him to leave. I wanted to return all the pain he had caused me tenfold. So I called out to him one last time. 5. Jasper, have you forgotten what day it is? Jasper glanced at me, his brow furrowed in displeasure. Go celebrate by yourself if you want. I have to go find Mimi. Aletta, you have to be reasonable. Don't always make me so worried. Seeing the undisguised anxiety in his eyes, I couldn't help but laugh. He had said himself that cats were just pets. How could he care about a cat? I turned around and saw a place circled in red on the calendar. It was written by Jasper. Aletta's 15th anniversary. I didn't say anything. I just silently took out my phone and opened the chat interface with my mentor. She told me, Aletta, there's a temporary vacancy for this exploration activity in X city. Although it's a 7-year contract, there's a chance to become a permanent employee in the future. If you're willing, I can reserve a spot for you. Your talent and learning ability are outstanding. You shouldn't be buried here. I received this message a month ago, and today was the last day for me to make a decision. Over the past month, I've read this message over and over again. After graduating from university, I was admitted to the top geology graduate program with the highest score. My mentor valued me very much and had offered me opportunities to participate in research projects many times while I was studying, but I had rejected them all. It wasn't that I didn't want to, but most of the members of the exploration team were men, and Jasper hated it when I was with other men. But now, the door slammed shut, and Jasper left without looking back. I also edited a message and pressed send. Looking at the river flowing slowly outside the window, I suddenly realized that spring was coming to J City. But soon, I would be heading for the desert and wouldn't be back for 7 years. Very well, this would be a complete separation. Jasper and I would be on opposite sides of the country and never see each other again. Half a month later, I was finally ready to go. During this time, Jasper neither came home nor contacted me, but his social media updates never stopped. Today he shared photos of some desserts. Tomorrow he was on a trip to an island. Beatrix appeared in every photo, intentionally or unintentionally. Either it was her hand holding a dessert, or her wearing a bikini. The latest was a photo of the two of them taking a selfie under the fireworks. They were both wearing yukatas, leaning against each other. Jasper had his arm around her waist, and Beatrix rested her head on his shoulder, looking particularly intimate. I didn't say anything. I just silently liked the photo. As soon as I liked it, Jasper called. Do you know what you've done? His voice was lazy, as if he had just gotten out of bed. I've already accepted your apology. What did you say? I was a little confused. Even through the screen, I could feel Jasper's smug expression. You even liked my social media posts. Aren't you trying to get my attention? Although you didn't apologize directly this time, I understand what you mean. Aletta, I know you care about me the most. Jasper laughed lightly, as if I were already in his pocket. I was silent for a moment, and then I decided to tell him that I was going to join my mentor's team. But before I could speak, I heard Beatrix's voice on the other end of the phone. Jasper, where did my underwear go? And did you drink half of my juice? Jasper replied a few words, and sensing my silence, he suddenly became nervous. Aletta, don't misunderstand me. Her water pipe is broken. I'm just here to fix it. I did this just to provoke you. I won't really do anything to her. I understand. I tried my best to control my trembling and make my voice sound calm, but Jasper still noticed the change in my emotions. This time, instead of provoking me, he patiently comforted me. Aletta, I've decided. When I get back tomorrow, we'll get married right away. You've passed all the tests, and I believe I can spend the rest of my life with you. Marry me, okay? I smiled, a very sarcastic smile. I had imagined countless times how Jasper would propose, but I never thought that his proposal would be under these circumstances, just to comfort me. Okay, Jasper. I smiled sweetly, filled with intense hatred and a desire for revenge, because I heard something fall to the ground and break on the other end of the phone. Beatrix was anxious. 6. As expected, I received a few anonymous text messages at night. You bitch. Do you really think forcing him to marry you will do any good? Do you know how fierce he is in bed? Have you experienced the ultimate feeling in his arms? He doesn't touch you anymore, does he? You're just a tool for him to play with. I'm his true love. See you at 7 p.m. tonight in the 3rd floor VIP room of Sunny Bar. Do you dare to come and see what your fiancé has to say? Attached to the message was a picture of Jasper and Beatrix being intimate in bed. I took a look and saved the screenshot. My mentor just called to say that the departure time for the field trip had been changed to 11 p.m. tonight. Because it's a national classified project, all participants' information is confidential. Even if Jasper is powerful, he won't be able to find out any information about me. It's pretty good. After packing my luggage, I took a taxi to Sunny Bar. I went straight to the 3rd floor, through the brightly lit crowd. Just as I was about to push open the door, the sound inside stopped me. Is this really appropriate? Jasper seemed hesitant, but his friend continued to encourage him. Jasper, you've been complaining about your sister-in-law being cold to you. Doing this will definitely stimulate her. Which woman can tolerate her fiancé being with another woman on the night before their wedding? With such a big humiliation, she will definitely lose her temper. And then you can see how much she cares about you. If you think this trick isn't cruel enough, we can arrange for Beatrix to show up at the wedding, and then you can elope in front of everyone. Don't worry with this, your sister-in-law will definitely care about you. Hearing this, Jasper seemed to have made up his mind. You're right. I just want Aletta to not be able to leave me. What's wrong with that? If she hadn't been interested in other men all the time, I wouldn't have done this. She deserves this lesson. Beatrix, who had been silent all along, suddenly giggled and leaned against him. Jasper, I've helped you so much. How are you going to thank me? Beatrix's eyes were full of provocation, and Jasper knew what she meant and smiled lightly. Beatrix, I know what you're thinking, but my heart in my wife's position can only belong to Aletta. Considering you've helped me so much, after we get married, I'll give you 3 houses by the sea and 10 million as compensation. Beatrix gritted her teeth angrily, and her eyes suddenly turned to the door, as if she was planning something. After a moment, she put on a smile again and leaned closer to Jasper. Then I won't be polite. But besides that, I want something else. She slowly leaned towards him, her eyes soft and intimate. How about a kiss? A hint of coldness flashed in Jasper's eyes, but he didn't refuse the approaching lips. Beatrix, don't go too far. Although he said so, he still let her lips get closer and whispered, You shouldn't do this. Then they kissed passionately, and his hand subconsciously wrapped around her waist. The cheers in the room grew louder and louder, and in the midst of the chaos, the door was suddenly pushed open. 7. With a loud crash, the room fell silent, and Jasper and Beatrix quickly separated. I stood silently at the door, staring straight at the startled Jasper and the triumphant Beatrix. Aletta, how did you get here? Who told you? Jasper pushed Beatrix away and stood up, rushing towards me. his expression full of guilt. This time, instead of staying calm as usual, I pretended to be heartbroken and looked at him tearfully. Jasper, we're getting married tomorrow, but you're still with her today. If you can't let her go, I'll leave. I'll make room for you. After saying that, I pretended to be heartbroken and pushed him away, ready to leave. Jasper quickly pulled me into his arms, both anxious and happy, and softly comforted me. Aletta, it's not what you think. She came to me on her own. I didn't avoid her in time. Although I've used her to test you many times, I've always been absolutely loyal to you in my heart. In his arms, I thought of those embarrassing photos and felt ironic. But on the surface, I still pretended to be weak, looking at him with deep affection in my eyes. Jasper, don't use this method to test me anymore. As I spoke, I handed him the hospital examination report. After reading the report, Jasper wanted to slap himself. Aletta, you have depression? When did it happen? Why didn't you tell me earlier? I didn't speak. I just pretended to accidentally reveal the wound on my wrist. In fact, these were just scratches from packing my luggage, and they could be used to act. I didn't want you to worry, Jasper. I was afraid you would be scared if you knew about my illness. His eyes became more tender. Seeing Beatrix walking towards us from a distance, I smiled faintly at her provocatively. Sure enough, Beatrix couldn't hold back and walked over to grab Jasper, pouting at me. Jasper, don't be so nervous. Many people have depression nowadays. It's no big deal. I think Aletta looks pretty good. She doesn't look like someone who's sick at all. Slap. Jasper slapped her hard and pulled my hand to show her the wound. Are you crazy? Who would hurt themselves for no reason? Remember your place. You're just a tool for me to play with. You're nothing. If you dare say another bad word about my wife, I'll make your life worse than death. Scared by his gloomy eyes, Beatrix could only shut up and leave. In his arms, I felt an infinite sense of absurdity. 8. On the way home, Jasper kept asking about my condition. Occasionally, when I was annoyed, I simply ignored him, but he didn't lose his temper like before. Instead, he coaxed me gently with sweet words. Almost home, he received a call from Beatrix. The girl on the other end of the line was sobbing, her voice so sticky it made one feel sorry for her. Jasper, if you don't want me, that's fine, but Mimi is with me. You better take it back, and we'll never see each other again. From now on, I'll have nothing to do with you, whether I live or die. After hanging up the phone, Jasper looked at me tentatively. Honey, Mimi ran away last time and was taken in by Beatrix. I'll go pick it up now, and we'll take care of our own child from now on, okay? I nodded and said softly, come back early. Seeing that I didn't have too many emotional ups and downs, he finally felt relieved and sent me home before leaving alone. Watching his back gradually disappear, I was silent for a long time. After turning around and entering the house, I packed my luggage and headed straight for the airport. While waiting for the plane, I received a call from him. His voice was hesitant, with an unprecedented ingratiating tone. Aletta, Beatrix cut her wrists and can't think straight. She doesn't have many friends, so I have to stay with her for a while. Don't worry, her parents have already rushed over, and will be here tomorrow morning. You won't be angry, will you? I smiled. Why would I? After all, everything about you has nothing to do with me anymore. Jasper finally relaxed and said as if swearing, don't worry, I promise to get to the wedding scene early tomorrow morning. You too, get a good night's sleep tonight and dress up beautifully tomorrow morning. I didn't say much, and I wanted to hang up the phone after a few perfunctory words. Aletta, can we really never be apart? For some reason, Jasper suddenly asked this question. I was stunned, and my movements slowed down a beat. At this time, the airport broadcast sounded. Dear passengers, this is a reminder that your CA 1909 flight is about to board. Please have your documents ready and proceed to the boarding gate. I was startled and subconsciously wanted to end the call quickly. Jasper's voice suddenly raised several decibels. Aletta, where are you going? We're getting married tomorrow. Where are you going now? Aletta, you can't leave. I'll go find you right away. No need. Looking at the crowd coming and going, I smiled unconsciously. You know it too. Aletta. Jasper, marry me? Dream on. It's over. When the plane landed, I met my mentor at the airport who had been waiting for a long time. Although her hair was already gray, she was still energetic and smiled very happily when she saw me, holding my hand and talking all the time. Aletta, you dropped out of graduate school before you finished your studies. Do you know how sad I was? Over the years, among all the students I've taught, you and Iker are the smartest. Don't worry, although you are a temporary worker now. As long as you work hard, I will try to get you a full-time position. I glanced at Iker, who was standing aside smiling helplessly, and a sense of warmth surged in my heart. After 2 years of not seeing each other, he seemed more mature and steady than before. Before, as my senior, he and his twin sister never looked down on me because I came from the chemistry department, and he patiently taught me a lot of knowledge about geological exploration. Later, he went abroad, and I dropped out of school due to an incident, so we never contacted each other again. My mentor told me that Iker was the one who fought for this opportunity for me this time. I looked at him gratefully and met his gaze. We looked at each other silently for a while. I could understand what he wanted to express, but just shook my head gently. After he understood, he stopped looking at me and focused on taking care of the mentor. Looking at his gentle back, I couldn't help but think of a photo I had thrown away from my phone before, which was a photo of us when we were in love. He had promised me that he would only keep this back photo for me, indicating that he would never leave me. However, later, for the sake of Beatrix, he took many more photos. As my thoughts drifted, I clenched my fist and emptied my mind of all those unsuitable thoughts. There is no need to recall the dark days of the past, hoping for a bright future. When I arrived at the edge of the Gobi Desert by special car, as soon as I got out of the car, what came into view was a vast expanse of stone beaches, and the wind mixed with sand swept across my face, and I immediately felt a sense of relief. The research institute was working in an orderly manner, and the mentor took us directly to the studio and immediately assigned me tasks. Even though I hadn't touched these things for a while, as soon as I started working, the memories of the past came flooding back like a tide. Within a week, I had become familiar with my current work and started cramming. During this period, I occasionally heard some news about Jasper. When he heard that I was going to board the plane, he went crazy looking for me everywhere. Almost didn't sleep all night, but couldn't find out which flight I was on. So he took a glimmer of hope and thought I was just scaring him. So he waited at the wedding all day long. To keep the ceremony going, the officiant repeated the same ritual over and over again, refusing to let the puzzled guests leave. But I didn't show up all day. This time he completely lost control. He went to all my acquaintances to inquire about the situation, and even went back to school to investigate, but there was no result. In desperation, Jasper publicly beat up all his friends who had encouraged him to test me, and exposed all the privacy between him and Beatrix. Beatrix, a small internet celebrity who relied on showing off her love life to gain fans, was now attacked by netizens for this scandal. Her image collapsed and she was facing a huge compensation lawsuit. At the same time, this incident also implicated Jasper's family business, causing the stock price to plummet and assets to suffer serious losses. But none of this had anything to do with me. After many failed experiments, we finally detected a rich mineral deposit, and the whole team was very happy and ready to celebrate. That night, everyone gathered together for dinner, and I sat alone on a large rock far away from the crowd with a bottle of ice beer, watching the sky. The night in X City was particularly beautiful, with stars twinkling warmly all over the sky. Taking a sip of beer, I thought of my deceased mother and couldn't help but feel sad. When my mother passed away, I was very sad, and even thought that it was meaningless to live alone in the world. It was Jasper who promised firmly in front of my mother that he would take care of me and accompany me for the rest of my life. He said, "Aletta, don't cry. After your aunt leaves, I will be your family. We will always be together, and we will never let you down." But now the bright moon is still there, but that man is no longer the same. As tears silently slid down my face, a piece of paper was handed to me. Iker sat down beside me silently with a bottle of beer, said nothing, and put the paper in my hand. Through my swollen eyes, I saw his nervous and concerned look, but I couldn't say anything, and suddenly felt something filled in a corner of my heart. You don't cry. It's cold here. Your face will be frozen if you cry for too long. Looking at his serious and gentle expression, I couldn't help but laugh. Jasper used to like to see me cry, thinking that I was sad because I cared about him. And the more I cared about him, the more proud he was. But now there is someone who doesn't want to see me cry, just because he doesn't want me to be sad. This contrast is both ironic and heartwarming. Taking the tissue Iker handed me, I smiled at him sincerely for the first time. I heard you raised a cat in the Gobi Desert. Can I go and see it? It was a whole 7 years of seeing this. Over the past 7 years, the world has changed. Because of my outstanding performance, I was officially qualified to be a researcher. When I stayed here for the 3rd year, I married Iker and raised a little orange cat named Happy together. This little guy Happy is particularly lazy, but very clingy. No matter how late we came back every day, it would climb onto my lap with its butt up and rub against my hand, like a little lover among cats. Iker's good deeds were interrupted countless times by it, but he never got angry, just good-temperedly moved Happy aside, and then came over to get close to me. To be honest, although Iker is the youngest son of the Iker group and his family is extremely wealthy, he is not like a traditional rich young master at all. He has a stable and introverted personality, is not good at words, and loves research work, sometimes making people feel a little bored. However, his care permeates every corner of life, just like the warm air in winter, making you feel the beauty of the world inadvertently. No matter how late I wake up, I can always eat a warm breakfast, and I never need to worry about housework.